All right, today we are going to talk about the differences in RV types. So stick around. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Robert, aka The Tall Man, and today we are going to do something for a few people that actually had asked me some questions about different types of RVs. They don't know much about the RVs and the industry. They've never done it before. And so they had questions. They hear me talking about travel trailers and fifth wheels, and they're like, what's the difference? We don't get it. So today we're just going to do a pretty quick video about the different types of RVs out there. So we're going to start with camper trailers. Now, camper trailers are actually something that slides into the back of your truck. You don't tow it. It literally slides into the back of your truck. Relatively small, not a lot of creature comforts, but you're inside. There's typically heat. There's a bed. There's a stove. You do have everything you need, but in a confined space. So you have those. Now, the next step up from that would be a pop-up. Now, a pop-up is something you would tow. They're very, very, very light, very, very small. And when you pop them up, they kind of pop up and expand out on the sides, and they become quite spacious. Nothing you would really want to use in very, very cold weather, but for summer camping and, spring and fall, they would be fine. And pop-ups are very light. You can tow them with an appropriately tricked out SUV, if you will, probably even some pretty big cars, all right, because it's very, very light. So that's what a pop-up is. Now, the next step up, you would get into what's called a teardrop, all right? A teardrop is a very, very small form of a travel trailer. All right, a teardrop is something that you would tow behind a vehicle. Again, a big SUV or a small truck, because the teardrops are very small and very light. But they offer some differences than the pop-ups. Now this is a travel trailer, okay? This is something that is pulled behind your truck. All right, it goes on the hitch. It's on the back of your truck, and you pull it with the back of the truck. Now this is actually a pretty good size one, but this is what would be called a travel trailer. All right, now this is a fifth wheel, okay? This is a type of RV that attaches into the back bed of a truck. There's a hitch that's put in the bed of the truck, and that mount right there goes right into the hitch that's in the back of the truck. So it sort of becomes part of the truck. Now, when you have a fifth wheel, these vehicles are much bigger. These coaches are huge. They're much, much, much heavier because when it's mounted to the hitch in the back of the truck, the vehicle can pull much more weight as opposed to if you're bumper pulling or doing a travel trailer. Fifth wheels, they're also, if you're going to become a full-timer, a fifth wheel is really, you can fifth wheel in a travel trailer. You can full-time in a travel trailer, that would be fine, but space is a little bit limited. Fifth wheels have much more space in them, much more comfortable, so if you're looking to be a full-timer, a fifth wheel is the type that you want to look at. All right, so on to the next. So with fifth wheels, there are basically two types. There's a mid-profile and a full profile. The mid-profile, it dips down a little in the front, so you don't have as much headroom all the way to the front of the fifth wheel. Whereas the full profile is what it says. It's full. It's the same height all the way. All right, now this one is what's considered a toy hauler. Now, as you can see from the front, it's set up like a regular fifth wheel. Remember, this is what's going to attach to the hitch that's inside the bed of your truck. But here's why it's called a toy hauler. One way to look at it to begin with is pretty much, for the most part, all toy haulers are going to have 3 axles. The reason is because this back area is actually a garage. See that big lift down door? This is where you would carry your toys, right? Your motorcycles, jet skis, or, well, probably not a jet ski, but golf carts, big, you know, a four-wheeler, anything like that. That's why they call it a toy hauler, all right? All right, so this would be considered a Class C. What Class Cs are, they're typically, well, I call them a conversion. As you see, this is built on a Ford E350 Super Duty chassis, all right? And then they just put the box on the back. So this is what would be considered a Class C. It's drivable. It will not have a huge towing capacity. No major understorage, or really at all. The only storage in this particular one is right here, because it's built on the Ford chassis. So that is what's called a Class C. All right, now this is called a Super C. You see from the profile, it looks a lot like a regular Class C, but let me tell you, it's huge. Again, the big difference is the regular Class Cs are built on typically Ford chassis, right? An E350, an E450, maybe even an E550. These Class Cs, the Super Cs, are built on commercial chassis. This happens to be done on a Freightliner chassis. So it's been given a different classification. The towing is completely different. The weight capacity, it's a commercial chassis. This would be the type of chassis that would be like in a big box truck that you see delivering goods down the road. The regular Class C, you know, that's just your Ford truck, right? Again, nothing wrong with that. These are great. This is just the next level of Class Cs, which is why they call it a Super C. Now, this is what would be considered a Class B. This is a van conversion. It's built in a Mercedes van, and it's a complete conversion, a full setup. This happens to be a used one, and we'll do a deeper review another time, but this would be considered a Class B. All right, so on to the next one. All right, now this is a Class A. Now there's what I would call several classifications of Class A's. This is a diesel pusher, okay? Over here is another type of Class A that is gas. So here's how I sort of look at the difference, and it's just my opinion, but the gas ones are typically built on a Ford chassis or a regular type vehicle chassis. That's the gas. The diesel pushers here, these are built on commercial truck type chassis, like a Spartan chassis or a Freightliner chassis, okay? The storage in the bottom is much bigger. All right, you see the storage down there is kind of small. The storage down there is much, much bigger. Now, the gas-powered ones, if you will, they don't have as much towing capacity as the diesel pushers. You cannot carry as much weight in a gas as you can in the diesel. And so there's just some differences, and there's pluses and minuses for both, but there's those. Now, there's what I call a third category of Class A, and those are the big conversion type buses that are built on Prevost shells. So manufacturers or customizers or converters, I guess is a good word, like Marathon, Millennium. These are the kind of guys, they buy the Prevost shells and then convert them into Class A coaches. These are the ones that get into the 1.5 to $2+ million. And so that is what you're looking at when it comes to Class A. We hoped you liked that video, just talking a little bit about the different types of RVs. Look, do us a favor. Let us know what your favorite one is. Are you looking for a Class A, or are you a pop-up kind of person? Let us know. Leave a little comment down there in the description. And while you're at it, smash the subscribe button, smash that thumbs up, and become part of our family. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. We love you guys. And hopefully we will see you on the road.